Okay, so I'm going to show you a video that has both the way we multiply in class and the way we divide in class. I'm going to start off with a multiplication problem. Let's say it's going to be 24 multiplied by 32. Alright, so our kids in class have been used to looking at 24 in expanded form, which is 20 plus 4, and then 32 is 30 plus 2. It's important that we understand expanded form when we're working on problems using the area model, which is what we're going to be doing. So if I'm taking 24 times 32, I'm taking that understanding that 24 is 20 plus 4, and 32 is 30 plus 2, and I'm multiplying. So when we multiply, like I said, we're going to use the area model, and that's just, we take a rectangle, and along the top we do 24, or we could also do 32. It works either way. So let's just say I put 24 along the top. I'm going to write 24 in expanded form. So I have 20 and 4, and along the side I'm doing 32 in expanded form. I'm doing 30 and 2. Now at this point all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line dividing my tens and ones. And what I'm left with is 4 problems. In this spot here, I'm going to multiply 20 times 30. Over here I'm multiplying 4 times 30. Down here it's 20 times 2. And then over here it's 4 times 2. Alright, so we know, we'll start with this, the far corner, 4 times 2. We know that's 8. I'm going to put my 8 in that box right there. We've talked a lot about easy ways to multiply larger numbers like 4 times 30, and we just say it's 3 times 4, and you know 3 times 4 is 12. And then we talked about the easy way of doing that. It's just adding on that extra 0. Here we have 30 times 20, or we can say it's like 3 times 2. Sorry, 2 times 3. And we know 2 times 3 is 6. And then we're adding 2 zeros onto it, so it's 600. And our last one is 20 times 2, or we can say it's like 2 times 2. We know 2 times 2 is 4. We add our 0 on. Now all we're doing at this point is we're just adding up the 4 numbers that we have. So we have 600, we have 120, we have 40, and we have 8. And we're adding up all those numbers. So my ones column is 8, tens column, it's 4 and 2 is 6, and then my hundreds column is 6 and 1 is 7. So our product for 24 times 32, or the answer, is going to be 768. And I can use this for as larger problems as I want. I could have 3,420 times 362. And then all I really need to know for this is that I need to write 3,420 in expanded form, or 3,420. So if I were to do a rectangle for this one, I'm not going to go through this whole problem here, but I'm just going to set it up the way it would be set up. So I need to make my rectangle, and then along the side or the top I do 3,420. So I just do along the top here 3,000, I do 400, and then my 2 stands for 20, so I do 20. Now it's 0 ones. I don't have to put my ones in there. If it was 8 ones, I put an 8 at the end, but there's no ones. Okay, so the side is 362. So again, I'm putting 362 in expanded form. I have 300. I have 60. And I have 2. And then all I'm doing is I'm making a line to divide my thousands for my hundreds for my tens. And the same thing, my hundreds for my tens, my tens for my ones. So this one has a few more problems to multiply, but again I'm just doing 300 times 3,000, 400 times 300, 20 times 300, and so on. So this would be 60 times 3,000, 400 times 60, 20 times 60. This would be 2 times 3,000, 2 times 400, 2 times 20. I'd find the products for all those, and then I would add them all up. So that's how we multiply in class. Give that a try. Let me know if you have any issues with that. And then let's move on to our division. So we've done several different ways to divide, but the way the kids have really sort of grasped, maybe the easiest way to, is using the place value chart. So let me show you how that works. Let's say we have a problem 342, and we divide that by, let's say 3. Actually, I'm going to change that to 432 divided by 3. Alright, so with this one, we're going to make what we call a place value chart, and it looks like this. So we have our line out here. We go down like this. We go down like this. And depending on what my problem looks like will dictate what my place value chart looks like. The reason I have 3 columns here is because this one's going to stand for our ones, our tens, and our hundreds. And above each one I'm going to put ones, and I'm just going to put an O for ones. This stands for our tens, and this stands for our hundreds. The next thing I do is I put in my place value chart my hundreds, my tens, my ones. And when I say I put it in, I'm going to represent 432. So I know 432, it has 4 hundreds. I have one. I'm going to make my dot a little bit larger. Give me a second. So I have 4 hundreds. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 3 tens. 1, 2, 3. And I have 2 ones. 1, 2. And then it says divided by 3. So down below here, I'm going to make 3 columns, or 3 groups down here. So there's one group right here. There's our second one right here. And then here comes our third one. Okay? And at this point, all I'm doing is I'm dividing out 432, starting with my hundreds. I'm going to divide out 4 hundreds into 3 sections, or 4 divided by 3. And what we taught the kids at the beginning was, we cross 100 off, and we move 100 down below. We cross 100 off, and we move it down below. Cross 100 off, we move it down below. Now, we do this making sure that here we have equal groups. I have equal groups of 1. Now I have 1 left. I can't do this. I can't cross this one off and move it down here because I would no longer have equal groups. I'd have 2 here, 1 and 1. So I take that one away and I leave it there. This sort of becomes our remainder at this point. With this 100, I'm going to move this 100 over to our tens. And the kids know when we have 100, we turn into tens. 100 turns into 10 tens. So I'm going to make 10 more tens in this section over here. Now, we also talked about organizing our work. I'm going to, when I make 10 tens, I'm going to make groups of 3. Because down below here I have groups of 3, and if I make groups of 3, it's actually going to make my dividing out easier. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to make 10 more tens. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now notice here I made groups of 3. Now the kids have been working hard at this, and they can cross one off, they move it down below. They cross one off, they move it down below. They cross one off, and they move it down below. Now, I've just crossed off one row of 3, And after I've done that, I know that there's 1 in each group. So we talked about a shortcut to doing this. We can just cross off a row at a time, and we can move 3 down here. Cross off a row at a time, we can move 3 down here. Now, the row has to be like a group of 3. If it's dividing by 3, our groups have to be in 3. If it's dividing in by 4, then I would have put these into groups of 4. Alright, so I've got one more. Oops, wrong color. One more crossing off, and then I'm moving that down here. So 1, 2, 3. And then I'm left with 1 left over. This 1 again, we convert into 1s. And again, I'm going to make put 10 1s over there. So as I do that, I'm going to make groups of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm going to cross off a row at a time, and then move them down below. Cross off a row at a time, move it down below. Now, believe it or not, my answer is done. This answer does not have a remainder. If I had, I'm going to put a dot in my ones column over here. If I had an extra 1 up here, then this would turn into my remainder. As you know, when we divide, sometimes we have remainders. There is no extra dot there, so there's no remainder in this problem. There's nothing left over. My answer is right here. I look at my hundreds, and I look at what's in each column. I have 100, I have 4 10s, I have 4 1s. So my answer turns out to be 144. That is my answer to that problem. Now this works for large problems, small problems. The only thing that we run into a problem with is when this number gets fairly large. So this works for dividing by 3, 4, 5, and that's what we've been doing so far this year. So when we get to like a number like dividing by 12 or 13, we wouldn't want to use this way because down here we'd have to make 12 groups, and that would be really confusing. But for problems that we've been doing in class so far that look like this, it works just fine. Things to think about. We've had 1 left over here, so we've moved 10 over. If we had 2 left over, we would move 20 over here. Same thing here. If we had 1 or 2 left over, we would move 10 for 1 or 20 for 2 over here. Now that's where organization really comes in handy too. If we organize in groups of 3, it makes it a lot easier to figure out how many will be in each group. Okay. Hopefully this helps what we're doing for division and multiplication in class makes sense. If you have questions, please let me know, and I'll do my best to help you out.